Hello, it is Wednesday, the 21st of June, 2017. This video I'm putting together is going to be slightly different than what I normally do. We had a little vacation down to Lake of the Ozarks here. We left on Sunday, came back this morning. The trip down was a direct flight from Moline to Camdenton, Missouri, which is a little town south of Osage. I believe it's Osage Beach or something like that. The trip down was non-event. It was a direct flight, no real weather, few clouds. I think I was in the clouds a total of like 5-6 minutes. But the trip back this morning was a different thing entirely. As a newer pilot, I have not dealt with a lot of weather decision making. As a matter of fact, the first time that I had to divert a flight was last year, where I had to plan a different route. Today, I didn't think was going to be anything. When I went to bed last night, the weather forecasts were clear in a million. There was a slight chance of precipitation up around Moline that wasn't supposed to arrive until the afternoon. So I went to bed thinking, planning a direct flight, a direct route without any issues. I was going to climb to 7,000 or 9,000 feet, depending on where I thought the bumps would be less, and head straight home. Unfortunately, when I rolled out of bed at 6 o'clock this morning, this is what greeted me. There were storms just south of Des Moines, and they were thunderstorms, moving southeast at about 35 miles an hour. As I mentioned, there was lightning in them. Des Moines was already reporting thunderstorms in the area. So I started looking at the different weather models, and some of them had, the composite reflective models and some different things that I use didn't even have those storms as being there. So some of the models showed them, but that they were going to, about Ottumwa, just east of Ottumwa, they were going to fizzle out, which is I've seen before. So to err on the side of caution, I was planning on leaving the condo at 9, taking off at 10, being home by noon. Well, to err on the side of caution, I moved it up to we'd leave the condo early, so we rousted the kids out of bed and got our packing and everything done, and we decided to leave the condo at about 7:30. I would have liked to have left earlier, but unfortunately, the FBO did not open until 8 o'clock. And since I had the airplane hangared, I had no way of getting there earlier, getting to the aircraft, and pre-flighting earlier or anything like that. So 7:30 it was. We left at 7:30, drove to the airport. It was about 20 minutes. I then waited around for 4 or 5, 10 minutes. Somebody finally showed up, got into the hangar, got the airplane loaded and pre-flighted, and was ready to take off at about 8:30. When I took off, it was like 8:37. This is what the NEXRAD radar was looking like. Moline sits along the Mississippi River there, the Iowa-Illinois border, on the east-west, where the river runs east and west. The first time there in Illinois. It's basically the bridge of Lincoln's nose is what a lot of people look at it as. But anyway, so I was a solid hour from the Illinois Missouri border, and there was no way I was going to beat that line of moderate to heavy precipitation. There was no way the direct route just was not going to work anymore. Once in the air is where some decision making needed to happen. Right about Jefferson City, Missouri, I got hold of Mizzou approach, got my IFR clearance all set up for direct Moline, and then asked to file a change. And I shifted my course slightly to the east, and I was making direct for Peoria. I asked him if I could go direct to Peoria, then direct Moline. The controller at the time said, he doubted I would even be able to make that because these things were moving pretty quick. But that was the plan. I figured I could always pull up short. My outs were Peoria. It was the first out. If I couldn't make that corner, I could try to make it to Peoria and land. Second out would be to deviate east into Springfield and get on the ground there, rent a car, and drive home because there was a forecast thunderstorms here for the afternoon. At about 9:30, this is what things were looking like. The storms had moved to the southeast, which was planned, and there was one cell in the northeast corner that was the one that was going to give me the most heartburn. I stayed at this point. I was maybe 20, 25 miles southeast of that line of storms on the southeast side. So I was running in front of them. I was running northeast about 20 miles in front of the wall of water, and you could see, and that's something that I got a video coming up here that newer pilots who maybe have not seen what weather looks like from the air, from the ground and from the air are two different things. This might be helpful, and it's a gray wall basically, and I got some video of that here in a sec. Here's 9:45. It's a little bit farther east. And here's what I'm looking at out the window. My wife filmed this. So here we are. We're about 10 a.m. Here's the weather, what the weather looks like. And I am just over Peoria, Illinois. And I go to make my turn around that cell that's to the northeasternmost cell. And I start heading towards, actually at that point it was the Bradford VOR, is what I was aiming towards. And then as I cleared the cell, which you'll see in the next video, I could make my turn then more to the northwest, and as I'm skirting around the cell. About 25 minutes later, I've made the turn. I'm now northeast, and I'm hauling from Moline because, as you can see on this picture, at 10:25, there is light to moderate precipitation. I think it got to within 5 miles of the field by the time I got the field. There's some photos here of me coming in, and you can see the precipitation off in the distance. And then you'll start to see here by the third photo, Moline is just off the nose. Now, I did try to keep it in tight. I didn't want to get vectored out. They were landing 9. and I did not want to go that direction. Light precipitation is not so bad. Moderate starts to get a little crazy. And to this point, I do want to point out there was no lightning. Matter of fact, during this whole thing, I had not seen any lightning. So it was just moderate to heavy precipitation. The thunder had gone out. The airliners were deviating in the beginning, but they started to go right over the top of all of this, because I think it probably capped out about 15,000 feet once the thunder went away. Anyway, I ended up taking a left downwind for runway 13. This kept me close in over the field, 5 miles out from the moderate precipitation. And in the end, we picked up just a few light raindrops. My wife filmed the landing. I'll show that. I did maintain a little extra speed. One, I was heavy. I had everybody in it. And two, I didn't know if there was going to be any kind of gusts or any kind of, so I kept a little extra airspeed, which overshot my normal turnoff spot. So here you can watch this video. Southeast, sir. I'm going to miss hotel without cranking on it. Tell me all the way down. All the way to the end, right on. So overall, here's what my flight path ended up being. It was a little convoluted, but I learned a lot. And it's amazing how flexible, at least out here in the country, now granted around the city it might be a little bit different, how flexible ATC can be. They let me go down from 7 to 6 when I was starting to get into the clouds and I didn't want to lose visual with the rain shafts. And they got us in. We landed safe, sound, with really nothing more than a sprinkle at that point. Now, the funny thing is, if I had not have changed plans, I guess, by noon, here's what Moline was completely heavy to moderate. I would have been cut off and stuck in. Actually, I might not even made Peoria at that point. I probably would have been sitting in Springfield waiting for an opportunity, maybe even spending the night or driving up the couple hours from Springfield and then having to go back and get the car. So lessons learned. One, if the weather is forecast to be one thing, you can't always trust it. You got to stay flexible. Two, don't let the FBO keep your plane in the hangar if the weather is going to be nice down there, and that was forecasted solid to be nice. Because if I would have been able to leave, even an hour earlier than when I left, I would have been clear of all this and made it in much easier. So I guess flexibility is the watchword that I learned today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If anybody has any questions, please ask. Please hit the like button. And I would like to make one point. A slower airplane, I wouldn't have made it. I would not have had the time just simply because I wouldn't have had the ground speed. I was looking at 160, 162 knot ground speed on that northeast leg to get out in front of this, and that's really what saved me. I think if I was still in the 172, I probably would have come up to Quincy or something like that and landed, and either waited or drove home from there. Anyway, hit the like button, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.